Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Don't Mom Alone podcast. I'm your host, Heather McFadden, and this is the place where I get to walk alongside you and connect you with people and resources so you know that you don't mom alone. And in this episode, number 519, I'm welcoming to the show Melissa Radke.
And I sat at that table and nobody joined me for the first 5 minutes. And then someone walked over and said, "Hi, are you here by yourself?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Then do you mind if I take this chair?" And then a third person came over, and then a fourth person, and then it was just me and no more chairs. And I thought about the irony of that moment. I've just written this book on community, and yet I'm sitting alone, and not only has no one come and joined me, they've taken my chairs. So one by one, people would kind of get up, and I would see that a chair was empty at their table. I never went and joined their tables, but what I did was make a table of my own. So I would look for the woman who was looking for women.
Melissa is a mom, a best-selling author, speaker, and television personality, and she's won all of our hearts with her funny and candid insights on life and love and the complexities of the modern world. She has a book called Eat Cake and Be Brave, and her newest book, Chicken Fried Women, releases April 22nd. And here's the deal. You're going to want to go to our show notes. You want to click the link, order a copy for yourself, first of all, and then second of all, for your chicken fried women. What do we mean by that? Well, Melissa will tell you what she means, and she has a great little gift idea for you to help make your Mother's Day gifting easier for your people. Also, don't miss, near the end of the show, Melissa shares a great insight into how do we cultivate the kind of friendships and relationships that we so desire, so we can have these women who come alongside us and help make us better, who are honest and fun and just, life is hard, but we need people. That's this whole concept of Don't Mom Alone. And so I'm thrilled to get to connect you with Melissa and with this book to help bring some joy into your motherhood journey. Let's get right to it. Here we go. Melissa, oh my gosh.
What?
Welcome to the Don't Mom Alone podcast.
And welcome to my house. I never thought Don't Mom Alone would be in my crib, but you kind of are. It's the closest you're probably ever going to get. I don't invite people over because I got laundry on the couch.
This is true.
I
relate to that. I relate to that. And you're looking amazing. Like the video's on point.
Well, here's the deal. Guess what I did today? The hair is popping, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because have you heard of the everything shower?
What?
Okay, the everything shower is this thing on TikTok, and it's where you take a shower and you go ahead and you do the exfoliant and you shave the legs and you do the deep conditioning mask and you do you do it all. And so your shower is like 14 hours. So I did that this morning accidentally. I started shaving a leg, and then I was like, "Oh no, this has turned into an everything shower." So I was in the shower a long time. I'm spick and span. You could eat off this head.
It looks good.
I'm ready to go.
It's fluffy and good. See, and this is where I was thinking about this topic, and we'll get into it. I was hanging out with women last night and getting their advice on spray tan. I've never had one, and I'm getting one after this interview. And so they were giving me the lowdown. They're like, you got to go home. You got to exfoliate.
You do.
You got to do all the thing. And I was thinking, these are my chicken fried women. These are a few of them. I feel like I'm so grateful. I can think of a lot. But these are the kind of things we're talking about.
Yep. You've never had a spray tan?
I mean, look at this.
Did they tell you to get buck naked?
They told me to wear the little thong thing, the paper one.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You can do that, or you can just go full bore.
That's what they said. And they said lean over a little bit so you don't get the half moons on the behind.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, these are the things.
But I had a spray tan done. Listen to this. When we had a television show back 6 years ago on USA Network called The Radkes, pre-COVID, one of the episodes was of me getting a spray tan.
Stop. I'm going to pull it up.
And I had to have a cameraman.
No.
In the room. Yes, girl. And when I tell you that cameraman was, as they say, up in my grill, I'm not kidding. Now, he did not see anything that only David Radke gets to see, but I'm just saying he was up in it.
Oh my gosh. I think I can do it. If you did it, that's the hope I needed.
I was just going to say, if I can do that for national television, I mean, my parents didn't talk to me for a year, but if I can do that, you can do this.
You're joking. They
I'm
did.
joking.
Okay. People are like, oh my gosh, I need to
Although
pray
my
for
mother,
Melissa. Her parents didn't talk
yeah,
to her
although
for
my
weeks.
mother did say when she watched that episode, Melissa, I raised you better than this. I've raised you with more class than this. And my dad was like, I don't think we have. I think this is on us.
This is just about right. Okay. I know, y'all, we're getting right into it. This is what I wanted Melissa to come on here for because moms, this is April, May. This is the worst time for us. And they threw Mother's Day in the mix just to be like, you don't actually get a break. But Melissa has a new book and it is out tomorrow if you're listening when this episode drops. And it's exactly what you need to buy. And you need to hide in places and read it and laugh because it's called Chicken Fried Women. And we
Chicken
need to
Fried
know
Women.
what the heck does that mean? Because when I first saw it, I was like, what? We're
I
eating women?
know.
We're frying women? This is not good.
Chicken Fried Women. The little subtitle is Friendship, Kinship, and the Women That Made Us This Way. And I note that people are curious as to what that means. This is a great potty book. Put it in the potty room and then just have a ball when you're in there, and pick it up and just laugh and laugh. It's a comedy book. It's going to make you laugh, but it's also very heartfelt. The best way I can describe it is that since I've been on social media,
Yeah.
I have heard all sorts of names for girl groups,
Oh,
your
yeah.
ride or dies, your besties, right? I know for me, I've got a group of girls that I lived with in Nashville for 16 years, and they're my Steel Magnolias. That's what we call ourselves. That's what our group text title is, the Steel Magnolias.
Blush and bashful.
Yeah, my childhood besties
Mm-hmm.
that I've grown up with,
Mm-hmm.
our text group is called the Golden Girls, because there's 4 of us. And so we all have these names for our girl groups, right? The women in my family are called my chicken fried women. And the reason that I call them that, and the reason that I hope your listeners read this book and find themselves in the pages of it, is because the reason I call them the chicken fried women is because they're a little bit battered on the outside. They're just a little bit battered. They're a little bit weathered. They've been hurt. They've been divorced. They've been lied to and betrayed. They've had cancer reports and diagnosis. They've gone through the chemo. They've come back again to tell the story. They're battered on the outside, but they are so tender on the inside. They are so tender. And don't get me wrong, my Aunt Melba is a little bit salty. She is. And my mama is a little bit spicy. So that's why I call them my chicken fried women. You can use that title and you can start calling your girlfriends chicken fried women. If you have friends or community right now and they're a little bit battered, they've been weathered, they've been worn, but they've lived to tell the tale, and it's softened them. It's made them tender towards the things of God, toward each other, toward relationships. Then there you go. You have chicken fried women.
Being the mom of 4 teenage boys, a lot of people ask me how we managed the phone situation when they were younger. And thankfully, we're a part of a school community where not a lot of kids get phones early. But I have noticed that a few of mine love to connect socially, and yet I don't want to give them a full access phone. So I love that we have the option of a Gab phone. Gab is the leader in safe phones and watches. We've bought the watch before for one of our younger sons when he was little and we were going to go on a big trip. There are no social media apps, there's no internet browser, and you get GPS tracking. These devices are built specifically to keep kids and teens safely connected. And I love that with the Gab phone, it's the shape of the phone that they want. It has all the features that they want. They have Gab Music in an app that lets kids stream clean music. And then for older kids, there's a Gab Phone 4 Pro with hundreds of screened third-party apps that can only be installed when you say so. They can get unlimited talk and text with Gab Messenger. And I don't know, I think that it's just helpful to have this step between when you're not quite ready to give them full access to all the things, but you also know that socially, developmentally, they're wanting to talk with their friends and stay connected outside of school. And maybe they're away from you more, maybe with practices for sports or with different activities. You're just needing to communicate and connect. So protecting your kids has never been easier. For the best deals, sign up to Gab today. No contract required at gab.com/DMA. That's Gab, GABB.com/DMA. Gab.com/DMA. Terms and conditions apply. I feel like I can think of my own as I'm reading it, but you've got your own unique combination that you grew up with your aunts around.
Yeah, I did. Not everybody does that, right? And I know that's rare. I grew up, in fact, just to let y'all know, what David Radke said the first time he ever brought me home from college to meet my family. He came home with me. He said, "Am I pulling up to a cult? I'm in love with you. I'll probably stay, but I just need to know." Because we all lived on one big piece of land and our houses were just a little yards apart.
Yeah.
And so I grew up around aunts and uncles and cousins. And I do realize that that's rare. When I was writing the book, I felt a little bit like, oh gosh, what if people feel left out? But you won't. This isn't just about them.
No.
It's about girlfriends and community. There's a chapter in here called How to Divorce Your Girlfriend. There's a chapter on the good, the bad, the toxic. I mean, this is about the women in our lives and how to laugh through it and make the best of it. I mean, in the good times and in the bad times. So yeah, there's a lot of stories about my family. There have to be. They've tormented me my whole life.
Yeah.
These are the women who looked at me and said, "Some girls just don't have to wear makeup, Melissa, but you're not one of those girls." I mean, that's who we're talking about. So yeah, they're in the book. I can't help that. But I hope that you laugh and you find your crazy aunt within the pages of the book, and you find your overbearing mother within the pages of my book. That's what my goal is.
Absolutely. And like, I remember growing up, I didn't have my actual aunt, but it was Aunt Susie and it was Aunt whoever. These were the people in my life. And if you are listening, you're like, oh, that's so nice. You have your family and you're comparing. You're like, I wish I could be like Melissa and have fun. And someone could tell me that I need to wear makeup. And like, look around. This is the thing. Here's the story, Morning Glory. Melissa, I've started a second show and it's a comedy show with a friend. Her name is Cynthia and it's called Sidetracked. And here's what Sidetracked has done for me. I am someone who navel gazes and is melancholy and can get up all in my feelings and cry a lot. Okay.
Okay.
A lot of grief. You have a senior. My fall was like all the tears of our family ending because the oldest is going away.
Okay.
These people know, they listen to the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm crying on like every interview. But when I'm in relationship with Cynthia and she's funny, like funnier than me, it's opening my eyes to see the joy that is there.
Right.
Not the imperfection and like what's gone wrong or like what could I do to make this better? It's like there is junk happening every day. I have 4 teenagers. Okay. This is just, but to open my eyes to see what is fun and good and like who are my people, even if it's not great to hear that I need to wear makeup or, I mean, your stories of like going bra shopping.
Oh,
y'all, my saddest thing is that I couldn't read more of this book before the interview. That's my saddest thing.
Or when I was told Cankles run in the family, just deal with it.
I read your whole your chapter. I mean, body
on the
image.
Bra shopping. That alone, if you get this book just to read that chapter, you will understand my pain. But anyway, back to Cynthia. Go ahead.
No, but I'm just saying, like, this is why we need people like you to open our eyes to see the joy. Mm-hmm. Instead of the Instagram that's like, oh, I'm falling short. I'm not that mom who just color coded her vegetable drawer in the fridge. It's like, what is going well, even if it doesn't look like that?
Yeah.
You know, we talk about comparison all the time and how it's wrong, but we do it.
Right.
How about we just look for what's fun?
Well, it's hard to do. That's like telling someone who's dealing with sadness, you need to be more grateful. Well, of course they do. Look around for all your blessings. Of course you need to do that. That's very good, but it's difficult to do. Then after a while, it just comes natural and you just start to see them. That's kind of how it is with humor. If we look for the funny in situations, it's hard to do it first, but then you start to notice it everywhere. And I've been noticing humor for a really long time. I mean, so I grew up in the church. I grew up in the church in the 80s when church
In
was
the
like
South.
in the South.
I
So,
mean,
I mean, that is the
and
most,
Baptist?
not Baptist,
Okay.
evangelical.
Oh.
That's when they used rain sticks in the worship. Okay.
Banners? Did you have
That's
banners?
when people would forget the words to the worship song. So they would just, my Aunt Melba would just sing. She would just raise her hands and cry because she said, nobody can hold it against you if you're in the spirit. If you forget the words, just raise your hands and cry. They know you're in the spirit. But a man walked into our church one Sunday night and he stuck his hand out to shake the hand of another man. And his big old college class ring flew off of his hand, hit an old woman square in the head, pegged her. Her head went back and she cried. And I laughed for 45 minutes. She was like, oh. I knew then I can find the humor and I can write about it. And those are the kind of stories that are in my book. Like I can find the humor in all sorts of things in life. And not only has that helped me as a writer, it's really helped me as a mother.
Yeah.
It really helped me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's humor happening all around you in your home with your kids. But if you are constantly in attack mode, there's no possible way you are opening yourself up to the joy of life. And look, guys, I know from which I speak. I am not some shallow, just you got to just find the joy in everything.
Yeah.
Life sucks and it is hard. And I have had really bad ups and downs with my kids like any of y'all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to sit there with a glazed over look, just deciding that all you're going to do is just look for the joy. Be
No.
real and be human. But at
No.
night,
Yeah.
when all the lights are off and you're laying in bed with your spouse or you're laying in there by yourself, just laugh at the absurdity of what just happened downstairs or what the teacher said at the conference, or just laugh at it. Because, I mean, you're just going to start over tomorrow. So just have a good laugh. And I'm just trying to find the joy in that kind of stuff. It's hard, but it's there.
Yeah. I think you're right. Finding the humor versus like Pollyanna, oblivious to the
Right.
heart. And I
Right.
do think if they read, if you read a story a day out of this book, you're going to start seeing, oh yeah, I remember when this happened, or something is actually happening right in front of you. And you're like, oh, that's
Oh,
hilarious.
yeah. Look, there's a chapter in my book called How to Divorce Your Girlfriend.
Tell me.
And
How do I do it?
not every chapter is a hoot and a holler.
Yeah.
There's a lot of heartfelt chapters in there too. And one of them is that chapter because I did one time divorce a girlfriend.
Mm.
And it was one of the biggest mistakes in my life with friends. It was a horrible, horrible mistake.
It was a mistake to end the friendship.
It was.
Okay.
And
Tell
I
me
talk
why
about
it
it.
was a mistake.
I spoke on this yesterday to someone. I did a live with someone I was their guest.
Okay.
And I told them this, and she was like shocked. She goes, I've never heard that before. I thought everybody had heard this. Here's a good rule. If it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't let it bother you for 5 minutes. But I took something
Mm.
that was not going to matter in 5 years and I broke a friendship
Mm.
over it. I said, this is over. This is done.
Mm.
And I broke a friendship. And it was right before I moved from Nashville back to Texas. So I also had an easy escape because she was in Nashville. So I can divorce you. I can break your heart. I can end years of friendship. And now I'm also leaving the state. So I won't run into you at Publix and it won't be awkward. And years went by that I lived in that I lived in Texas. And I began to miss her and grieve what I had done.
Mm.
And I had to write her a very long letter. I said, I don't want to call you because I don't want to put you on the spot. So I wrote everything in a letter, but I put my new phone number if you would ever want to talk to me.
Mm.
And my phone rang one day and it was her. And that chapter is about how we say we're sorry and how they sometimes so graciously forgive us. So
Mm.
adulting is hard. Friendshipping is hard as adults.
Yeah.
I recognize that in this book and I write that in there.
Yeah. And I appreciate like so often the advice or the examples aren't talking about that regret.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate you being vulnerable and being like, yeah, I thought this was a good idea and it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And bravo to her to
Yeah.
being like
Oh, bravo to her.
gracious enough. And it does leave a mark though. Don't you feel like it leaves a mark on the friendship? Or do you think it strengthened it? Like, do you feel like, you know what I mean? Like, can it go back or is it even better?
I know exactly what you mean. Can it leave a mark? Yeah. Might the friendship not ever quite be the same? Yeah. But on the same side, it can also make you stronger. So, which will you let happen? If the
Mm.
friend is gracious enough to forgive you, or you are gracious enough to accept the apology, will you let it kind of stain you so that your friendship always kind of walks with a limp? Or will you let it strengthen you? Her and I did not make that conscious decision, but I can tell you it strengthened us because in a couple of weeks, I will go to Nashville, Tennessee, and I will have an evening with Melissa Radke at a big bookstore there. And people will come out and they will look at the book and I will sign books and all that. But before that, I'll be on stage and I'll talk about the book. And I'm going to have an interviewer interview me. And guess who the interviewer is? Her. And when
Mm.
I asked her, she was like, not just heck yeah, but I mean, she was thrilled to do it because
Oh,
she's walked through friendship with me. She understands it and she knows that she's in a chapter too. So, yeah.
oh, that's sweet. You mentioned that you find the humor in motherhood. This is a mom show.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any stories in this? Would your kids let you? I feel like I'm at this tricky stage with having teenagers. Like I've already 2 or 3 times wanted to tell you funny things that happened like yesterday
Yeah.
with my
Oh,
kids. And
yeah.
I'm like, well, if they found out that I told that in the show, do you feel like you're at this point, like you can't tell their funny stories or you can't?
I feel like I can tell anything of theirs up until a certain age. Anything past like 14, I would probably ask them. I mean, if Remy did something funny when she was 9, which she did, I would tell it and she wouldn't have a single problem with it. But the teenage years are a little bit different, and I would probably ask their permission. I will tell you this. There are not a lot of stories about the kids in here. There's a lot of stories about me as a child and my
Mm.
mother and that relationship, but not me and my kids because that's a whole nother book.
Okay.
Honestly, like I really am saving up a lot of that for that book, which will be hysterical as well because I am a comedian. I write comedy books. I speak on stages and make people laugh. And so I'm saving it. I'm saving it for a book. So you won't find that parental relationship, but you will find my mom and I a lot of that.
Yeah. And I mean, that relationship, like a mother-daughter relationship,
Right.
can we talk for a second about that? Like, would she be someone you would call up and tell your hard things to?
Yes. But I got to tell you, I am shocked. I just thought everybody loved their mama
Mm,
and got along with their mom.
mm,
And there are some strained relationships there.
mhm. Yeah.
I don't want to lie to you though. Mine's been pretty strained.
Yeah.
Mine's been pretty strained. It is healing beautifully. But
Mhm,
there were several years there of my mother was unhealthy
mm,
and my mother, there was some addiction issues in my family and it really strained our relationship.
mhm.
But she's doing so well and we've built up so much trust again. And so it's in a wonderful place. But the other day on Sunday, we went to a buffet after church and it was me and my
As you
husband
do.
and my mom and dad. Is that Southern or what?
I mean, Luby's, if it's Luby's, I
It
mean,
wasn't
that
Luby's, but I
okay,
wish it had been Luby's. But anyway,
right?
we were sitting at the table and the guys got up to go fix their plates. But my mom and I were in a conversation and my mom said, she just looked up and she goes, but I gave you advice the other day and you didn't take it. Now, why would you ask me for my advice, Melissa, and then not take it? And my dad goes, all right, David, let's go get our food. Let's go get our food. And I waited till they were gone to lean across the table and say, you know, you're my best friend. That's why I
Mm,
asked you your advice. You know, I love you and I trust you, but I'm also 50 and I don't have to take it if I don't want to. And I mean, that just kind of, she went, well, I know, but that's crazy because I give the best advice. I mean, she just, we kind of laughed about it, but I've learned how to draw some boundaries there. I've learned how to draw some healthy boundaries. But I love my relationship with my mother, and I think it's beautiful today because it is so scarred,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so scarred in some places. But that's what scars are. They've healed up. They're just stories. You just point to scars and say, I got this one when she hurt me, and I got this one when, I told her I hated her, and I got this one when she forgave me. So that's kind of what our relationship's like.
I love how Melissa describes her chicken fried women. And I know you are thinking of the own women in your life who have influenced you. And I want to help you make their Mother's Day extra special, heartfelt. And whether these are your mom, your grandma, a relative, maybe it's an aunt that's not actually an aunt. Can I introduce you to something amazing called Storyworth? Each week, Storyworth is going to email your loved one a memory-provoking question that you get to help pick. Questions like, did you ever get in trouble in school? Or how did you decide how many kids to have? And all your loved one needs to do is respond to that email with a story. Whether it's long or short, it doesn't really matter. They can even write the story and send it or record it over the phone, and Storyworth will transcribe it. You will get emailed a copy of your loved one's response as they are submitted over the course of the year, and you'll get to enjoy either their retelling of the stories you already know or be surprised by something you've never heard before. And after that year of fun, Storyworth is going to compile all the loved ones' stories and photos into a beautiful keepsake hardcover book that you'll be able to share and revisit for generations to come. I love this idea. And Melissa reminds us that these stories bring so much joy and healing into our life. And so I hope that you will join the thousands and tens of thousands of families who love Storyworth. They have 40,000 5-star reviews on Trustpilot and so many millions of stories preserved since the company was founded over 10 years ago. Give all the moms in your life a unique, heartfelt gift you'll all cherish for years, Storyworth. Right now, save $10 on your first purchase when you go to storyworth.com/DMA. That's storyworth.com/DMA to save $10 on your first purchase. You've heard me mention this a few places, but now I officially get to tell you about something that has been drastically helping me feel better, especially in this season of perimenopause, and it is Function Health. I'm telling y'all, I have learned so much about how my body functions, thus the name, and how to help support it because of doing this process. So basically, you set up an account. It takes about 5 minutes. You complete a really simple questionnaire. Then you schedule your lab tests. And as a female, we schedule them around our cycle if you're still having a cycle. So I went 2 times, super easy, to a Quest diagnostic. And what was interesting is even the lab techs there that were taking my blood, she was like, oh man, a lot of people from Function Health are coming in through here. So I thought that was interesting. And then as your results come in, the Function platform will continue to send you updates on different biomarkers and parts of how your body works that they've tested. So whether it's related to my thyroid, because I take thyroid medicine, my female hormones, my autoimmunity, my liver, my kidneys, my pancreas, so many things, whether I have heavy metals. And I discovered like a lot of biomarkers related to my heart were in the questionable zone, and some other things that they also share with you. What are the best foods you should eat? What are the best supplements that will help support you? And I am telling you, I'm feeling so much better. What I love is it's helping me own my health. I could even take those results to my doctor and show her. This is for all ages, all genders. It's accessible and affordable. It's $499 a year, and that includes that cost of all those lab tests, and it's super easy. It's helping me so much in a lot of different areas. So if you haven't heard about it, I'm thrilled that I get to tell you. I've been so excited to get to have them on as a sponsor. Unfortunately, Function currently has a wait list, but fortunately, they are offering my audience the chance to skip it. If you go to functionhealth.com/DMA or just enter the code DMA, you get to skip the wait list. So that's functionhealth.com/DMA. Enter that code DMA and you will get to skip the wait list and take control of your health. Well, and I just love hearing you write dialogue so well in this book. Can I just give you that applause? Like,
Thank
dialogue
you.
is not easy to write. Funny dialogue is actually very hard to write. And so you do that beautifully. But I think even just displaying right there how you so kindly and lovingly set that boundary,
Mm-hmm.
because people hear boundaries all the time, but they're like, I could never do that. It's like not about even her reaction to it. Well, I give the best advice. It's more
Mm-hmm.
about like, yep, you're right. I asked. This is why. But I'm a grown adult. I don't have to take it. That's
Yeah. I took my mom's advice. I took David's advice. I prayed about it. And then I decided what I needed to do. And that's pretty much how I'm living life. And I'm okay with that,
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but my mother and I did not always have a contentious relationship. There were many, many, many more years that it was hysterical and fun. Only in my 30s was it a little bit contentious and just really unhealthy. But overall, it was a hysterical mother-daughter relationship. I mean, listen to me. My mother bought me my first bra from a dead woman. A dead woman
And I read
dropped
that.
dead at a buffet. I can't believe we've now said buffet like 3 times on this show. Dropped dead. Her kids had a sale, a garage sale selling off her stuff. They hung a bra on a tree limb. My mother saw it and bought it and gave it to me.
Because she was a large-chested woman.
She was a big-chested woman. I am a big-chested woman. As my mother says, Melissa, you're built like your daddy's people. So that is the kind of relationship we had, and it just gets funnier from there.
I mean, okay, of all the stories, was there one that you were writing and you were making yourself laugh as you wrote it? Or is there multiple? I'm imagining. Do you make yourself laugh? Like you're like writing, you're like, that was
Yes.
great. Yes.
Yeah. There's one in particular that makes me laugh, but it's a little bit crude, so I'm not going to tell it on your show. But it is true and it really happened. So get the book and read it.
Which one is it? What's it called?
It's something that my mom said to our pastor.
Wait, which one is it? Which chapter?
Which chapter is it? I have no clue. I do not have a clue what chapter it's in.
Because there's a lot, y'all. I mean, I'm looking at it's like 20
There's,
chapters.
21 chapters. Yeah. That one's funny. Everybody that has read it so far has busted out laughing at that story. And she swore that what she said wasn't crude or dirty, that our minds were in the gutter. We're like, no, Mom, it was horrifically offensive. That's funny. One of my favorites is
Yeah.
called Swim Gym.
Yes, I was reading that one.
Swim
Yes.
Gym is about the fact that all the women in my family are fluffy and we get together every summer and we think we're going to lose weight because we get together and we do water aerobics in my pool and I lead the class. And whenever we do water aerobics and we do real good, we celebrate with cookie dough. And that is a very funny chapter to me because that is a true, still going on currently to this day chapter.
I
We
mean,
still have Swim Gym.
with the noodles, the last time?
Yes, my aunt, who has been a widow for about 13 years, we did an exercise one day and I said, okay, let's take our noodle and put it between our legs. And she's like, y'all, it's been so long since I had a noodle between my legs. And we're like, stop it, Aunt Melba.
No.
So, yeah, that kind of stuff happens on the regular.
And then you're like, David, bring out the chicken pot pie. And he says you're going to take a bite while you're in the water. And you're like, don't judge us, David.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, really funny. Really
Thank you.
funny.
Thank
So
you.
well done. I'm like, honestly, I'm going to take it with me on a beach trip.
Oh, yeah. And you know what else I told people? You should get this book. You should also buy a cast iron skillet. Put the book inside the cast iron skillet with a cute little dish towel, wrap it up in a big bow, and give it to somebody for Mother's Day. It would be the perfect Mother's Day gift. They would just love it, I think. So
That
it's
is
called
so
Chicken Fried
good.
Women. So obviously you need a cast iron skillet. But I just think it's a great beach read. It's a lot of fun. You'll laugh out loud. And some of the harshest critics in the world are my girlfriends. I mean, because I've taught them to be brutally honest. And they're like, Melissa, it's good. It's really good. So I'm really proud of it. And I thank you so much for even allowing me to talk about it. I'm a talker. Can you tell? I'll shut up
Well,
now.
you had me from the intro when I was reading it, and you were like given all the TV show examples of the girlfriendships
Oh, yeah.
and the yin and the yang, the Lucy and the Ethel, and the Laverne and the Shirley. And I grew up with all these women, and there's something in our soul that longs for that connection.
Yeah.
And so I think before we go, I know, like we said, it was already built into some of your family relationships, but you've also shared about these Nashville friends and other
Mhm.
friends that you had from childhood. Like, if they don't have these people, you have a little word for them. I know you're not in a like you're not a counselor, you're not in, but like, how do we gather our chicken fried women?
Actually, I do coaching, and so
Oh, well then,
I have a great answer for this.
okay, yes.
I was at but nobody's gonna like the answer. It's like when your doctor tells you you need to work out, and you're like, I didn't come here for that. Um,
No carbs.
yeah, I was at a event in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and I went not knowing anybody, and it was all women that were going to be there. And the very first night was a cocktail get to know you reception kind of thing. So, in other words, all of the tables were high stand around tables. And then the waiters and waitresses would walk around and be like, would you like an appetizer? Would you like an appetizer? Kind of thing. But over at the side, there were three regular sized tables with chairs around them. And women, as they do, get sick of standing in their heels. And so over time, people would kind of quit mingling and they would just go sit at those tables. And I noticed that the third table had absolutely nobody sitting at it. The first table, crowd of women around it. Second table, crowd of women around it. Third table, 5 chairs, nobody at it. So you better believe I hate heels and I made a beeline for that table. And I sat at that table and nobody joined me for the first 5 minutes. And then someone walked over and said, Hi, are you here by yourself? And I said, Yes. And she said, Then do you mind if I take this chair?
Oh.
And then a third person came over, and then a fourth person. And then it was just me and no more chairs. And I thought about the irony of that moment. I've just written this book on community, and yet I'm sitting alone. And not only has no one come and joined me, they've taken my chairs. So one by one, people would kind of get up, and I would say, and I would see that a chair was empty at their table. I never went and joined their tables, but what I did was make a table of my own. So I would look for the woman who was looking for women. And I would go over and I would say, Hi, I'm Melissa. You look like your feet are killing you. And she would be like, What gave it away? My limp? And I would say, I've got chairs over here if you want to come sit. Oh, honey, don't say another word. Yes. And before I knew it, I was sitting alongside 6 other women that I had never met before from all places in the country who just needed a table. So I made one myself. And that is what you do. I know that that doesn't sound fun. And I know that you want everybody to invite you. And I know that you want to be at the table where all the action is because they begged you to come. But sometimes in life, you just got to create your own table. And I think when you do, you end up finding the people that were always looking for a place to sit.
Hmm. Oh man, that's a poem you just wrote. That was so beautiful. That was amazing.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
100%. I tell people it is worth taking the risk of rejection for vulnerable, authentic connection.
That's right. That's
It
right.
is worth the risk. Try.
100%. You're very right.
And if they're not your people, move on to the next restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, it's not your flavor. It's not your they're not your type of chicken. I don't know. They're grilled and you're crispy. I don't know.
You could be the juiciest peach in the barrel, the juiciest peach, and somebody's still going to want an orange. It
Yep.
doesn't matter.
It's
Do
not
you
you.
know how many people there are looking for people? So
Yeah.
just go out, make a table, and find yours.
Yeah. And in the season of raising kids, it can be sometimes you're meeting them in the similar life stages.
Yeah.
Like, I have my group that I met right when we were new married, right as we were all having kids. And I've got the group with my oldest son and those mom friends. It's like almost every kid I've got a different little posse,
Yeah.
but then they are going to grow up and it's like, will they still be my chicken fried people? I don't know.
And it's okay if they're not. It's okay if seasonally through our life that changes. I mean, I
Mhm.
got to tell you, what I have with my childhood best friends that we've grown up together is very rare, but we don't see each other much at all.
Yeah.
We all live in different places.
What's your main communication connection? Do you use like
A
Marco
group
Polo?
text,
Real
a group
old school?
text, old school. Yeah. I mean, that's our main way to talk. I mean, because you know why? They all have teenagers. They're all busy as can be. So
Mhm.
we don't even have time to Marco Polo a video. We just throwing out a group text every once in a while. It changes. There are friends that I have loved with my whole heart. They're not even in my life anymore,
Mm.
simply because it changes and they move away, and it can be painful for a moment, but then there's always the girl. A girl moves in that's been wanting to sit at my table,
Yeah.
so allow
Yeah.
that to happen. It's okay.
And making new friends is a good
That's
thing.
right.
Yeah. Oh, Melissa, you're amazing. Y'all get a copy of this book. We've linked to it in the show notes. Get it for your chicken fried people. I think
That's
that would
right.
be such a fun, like your idea for the Mother's Day gift, but like get a copy for
Yes.
your little group and be like, hey, we're going to read this. It'd be a
Yes, I
great
would
book
love
club.
that. Y'all, thank you so much for having me. And if you buy the book, that when I see you, I'll kiss you on the mouth. How's that? Now people are like, yes, I'm buying it.
I'm in. Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Blessings over this launch and everything that you're doing. And hopefully our Texas paths might cross in real
I know.
time.
You're most welcome. I was honored to be on your show. I hear great things about your show. So
You're
thank
sweet.
you for having me. And
Of course.
I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm going to read you a little introduction from the book. She's reflecting on a scene from I Love Lucy, one of my favorites. Google if you've never seen I Love Lucy Conveyor Belt Chocolates. And she's saying she never thought it was funny. And then she was in a hotel room and it came on TV and she was just kept laughing. And she's laughing so hard, she's in a full Spanx and she's crying. Anyway, she said, what I saw on that cold New Jersey morning may have never even stood out to the television critics. But you know what? I bet it crossed Lucille Ball's mind. When she was developing the show and writing out the story, she added something into that scene that few people ever give enough credit to. Ethel. Lucille Ball could have managed that scene on her own. She could have shut the place down with her antics and her faces and her timing. It would have probably still been known as one of the best scenes in television history, even if she'd been all by herself. But she didn't choose to play it that way. And why? Because Lucy knew something in that moment that I wouldn't realize until that cold New Jersey morning. Lucille Ball knew that anything funny that happens is 100 times funnier when it happens with another woman. A friend, a family member, a ride or die, a bestie. What struck me was what they were doing together, their chemistry, their relationship. I believe it was Eleanor Roosevelt who said, "A woman is like a tea bag. You can't tell how strong she is until you put her in hot water." But it was Melissa Radke who said, "Put a woman alone in hot water and she's a tea bag. But put her in hot water with her bestie and they'll call it a hot tub and ask to speak to a waiter." It's just another angle on why we need each other. Mothering is hard. Okay? Facts are facts. And yet we can make it even harder. One, when we do it alone in isolation. Two, when we put so much pressure on ourselves to get everything right and follow the formula. And three, when we're not laughing enough and finding the humor in this journey. I wish I would have found more humor when my boys were little and just the antics and the crazy of 4 young boys. So I'm just going to pray over us, Lord. I pray for the moms who listen. I pray, Lord, that if they are missing some women in their lives who bring the joy, who bring the real, who bring the truth, that you would open their eyes to do the invitations, to invite them to the table, so to speak, as Melissa talked about, to take that risk, to be vulnerable and authentic, and to develop these kind of friendships, just walking life together, laughing through the hard. And I just pray that you would be her guide. Holy Spirit, pull her in. If moms are hard right now, bring in some bonus moms, some extra women from their church and mentors who can fill in that role. And I pray, Lord, that we could be that for one another while we are here on earth. In Jesus' name, Amen. Okay, thanks y'all for joining me once again. Thank you for how you're sharing with your friends. I'm always so honored when you do. And I'll meet you back here next week for more conversations. All right, adios. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Don't Mom Alone podcast. If you're wanting to connect with more people and more resources to help remind you that you're not alone, head over to don'tmomalone.com. That's where you'll also find show notes with any links mentioned by our guests. Most importantly, I want you to know the good news, the great news that you're not alone because God has promised to always be with you. With faith in Jesus Christ, the one who died for you and rose again, Jesus said when he left, he was going to leave a helper, a comforter, to be with us. God in us. Moms, that's superpower. So while you're washing dishes at your kitchen sink, while you're driving to and from work, while you're feeding that baby late into the night, while you're cleaning sticky floors, God promises to be just as present with you as when you're worshiping in a church pew. As it says in Zephaniah 3:17, the Lord your God is with you. He is mighty to save. He takes great delight in you. He will quiet you with his love, and he will rejoice over you with singing. Now that's good news. Have a great day.